We can change anything and make it better. Together now we're strong, don't question it. The truth will break your chains, we have the key. Open your eyes and see. We are the ones who know the answers, and they ain't never gonna hold us back. The sea is rising like we dancers. Imagine life without a purpose. Now picture everything you're fighting for. Now picture everything you're fighting for. Everything you're fighting for.
Yep, I was again on mute. So what's up, guys? This is Vignesh joining you all. So this is the third episode of live coding series of Timecampus. Never stop. So and we are going to code the chat application live on the stream today. So stick around in the chat, and I won't be talking too much today. So we will get to work directly. But before starting off, so this is nothing going to be like it's not a theory session. So please be interactive as much as possible. I will talk as I code, so in case you have any doubts, let me know. And we are going to code a multi-streaming chat application. So in case you missed out the previous live coding sessions, we are going to continue from there. So in case you missed it out, you can always watch it back in YouTube. So all the recorded sessions are already available there. So yeah, with that, let's get started. But again, as I told you, so I guess that many of you are joining in for the first time. So you might have a bit of disconnect, but I will try to make up for that. We didn't do any coding so far. So what we did in the last session, if you remember, was that we basically took YouTube and Twitch as two streaming platforms, and what we did is we did a proof of concept to build a chat, to basically make chat work with YouTube and Twitch. So that's what we did in the last episode. We showed how you can write to the YouTube chat, how you can read from the YouTube chat. We showed you how you can write to the Twitch chat, read from the Twitch chat. So that's what we saw in the last episode, and this episode is going to be really interesting because we are actually going to code things. So let's get started, and yeah. So as I told you, this is the third episode, and yeah, so we are here. So this is the agenda for today. So we are not going to go through the slides. That's not going to be any slides for today. It's just going to be coding client, server, and plugins. These are the three things which we are going to code. So we will be basically building the client application from which the users will basically, or the streamers will basically chat or view the chat messages which he or she received in the live stream, and we will build the server where the chat messages which are being sent from the client is received, processed, and sent to the respective streaming platforms, and the plugins which are for instance, for YouTube streaming, we will build a YouTube plugin. For Twitch streaming, we will build a Twitch plugin. So we will build plugins, we will build the client, and we will build the server. That's what we will do today. So yep, let's get to coding. I hope there are no technical issues. In case there are, let me know. So I am going to quickly show you my screen. So yeah, so as I told you, we are in the third episode of our series. So, and as you might know already, so we had created a repository called Streambox in our previous episode, which is where we are going to push all the code as we code live. So let's keep that open as well. So what I'm going to do now is I hope you are able to see my screen. So in case you are not, let me know. So I have my Streambox application here. So I am going to quickly open it up in my VS Code. And what we are going to do today is we are going to build the server, client, and the plugin. Three things which are very important. We will come to the chat later because we had already seen a proof of concept in the previous episode. So that's something which we already experimented. So let's build the server, client, and the plugin. So when we are building the server, so one thing we have to see is we want to build in Node.js. So that's what we decided. And we want the client to be a simple HTML, HTML CSS page, so nothing fancy, not any framework as you might know already. And we are going to build a sample plugin to connect to YouTube, Twitch, and other platforms as well. So let's build. So what I do is basically I have basically made a boilerplate code per se, which you can also use. So you can download it from my GitHub repository. So it is available in github.com/tvvignesh/nodeskeleton. So if I do any quick experiments or hackathon projects or anything for that matter, so I want to basically get started off quickly. So I built a boilerplate code which I always use whenever I do coding or experiment things. So this is that code. So in case you want, you can always download it from here, github.com/tvvignesh/nodeskeleton. This is nothing but a boilerplate made in Node.js, which has a lot of other things as well, like support for TypeScript, Docker, Kubernetes, PM2, ESLint, Prettier, VS Code, config, and all that. So you can go to this repository and you can always pull the code, experiment it, contribute to this code. So you can always do that. So what I am going to do is I am going to create 3 folders first of all. So let me know if you are facing any technical issues. So I am doing all my coding in Linux, so you can do it in Windows as well. So I am going to create a server, a client, and plugins. So 3 folders. So you can see all that in VS Code here. So now what I am going to do is I am going to pull my server into this is going to be a mono repo. So what I mean by mono repo is the single repository is going to contain all the server, plugin, as well as the client, since we are just starting off, we can split it into separate repos later. So let's quickly clone into the server. So let me go to the server. So I showed you the boilerplate which I was talking about. I am just pulling the boilerplate into my server. In case it is Greek and Latin for you, let me know. In case I am going with too much of basics, let me know as well. So I'll move on to a bit of complex things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically move all the things from within node skeleton to start. Okay, so I can remove my node skeleton. Okay, so now my server folder has all all the files which I need for starting my server. So I hope the zoom is fine. So let's refresh the chat a bit. Okay, so I am going to quickly run npm install to install all my dependencies. I'm going to show you what this looks like. Okay, it shows 9 low severity vulnerability. So I am going to fix that quickly using npm audit fix. I have not updated this repository for quite some time because I have been doing some more things. So fix 0 of 9 vulnerabilities. That's fine. It's all low severity, so that's fine. So what I'm going to do is run npm run start dev. So if I do this, my server is going to start up. Okay, so there is an error here. So it says no ESLint configuration found in whatever server / app / controllers. So server / open source streambox server. Okay, where did my ESLint file go? Interesting. Okay, it's not going to be a big deal. So what we will do is, for now, we will go to the package JSON quickly. So we will come to ESLint later. We will comment out the ESLint step for now. So we will just stick with this. So what I'm going to do is we'll focus on that later. So that's why I've commented it out. I've removed it. Okay, my server has started on localhost 8085, as you might see. Okay, I guess my overlay must be blocking your view. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to localhost 8085 and you will see hi there, you are all set up. So this is a basic project, nothing much. So this is nothing but a boilerplate code which helps me quickly started off with Node.js projects. You can always download it from the GitHub repository. So if I want to quickly show you that what it has, so this is the structure basically of the boilerplate code which I have pushed. So it has a folder called src where all our code is going to be pushed. So it has a lot of other files like a Docker file for basically packaging whatever we do in the server as a container. So it has of course open source license. It has our nodebond to basically hot reload the code. So as and when we type, we want to do hot reloading so that we don't have to manually do it every time. So we don't want to stop the server and restart it every time we change the code. So it has something for to do with hot reloading. And it has our package.json file which basically has all the dependencies in it, yes, of course, some helper scripts also, like some scripts to help you build the project, some scripts to basically help you start the project. Basically it can also help you document your project, link your project, format it. So you have all the facilities available in the script. And of course, so in case you want to start this as a long running PM2 process, so you can always run it with PM2 as well. So PM2 is nothing but a process manager for Node.js. So in case you want to start it with PM2, so there is a configuration for that. and there is a ts config file which basically has all my TypeScript configurations. So I have basically specified some pre-built configurations which is suitable for me. So that's something which you can see here, and you can see type doc as well. So where I have all the things related to my documentation, TypeScript documentation. So as and when I write code, as and when I put comments in my code, it will automatically be documented. So the documentation will always be available for me in case I want to see later. So there is a type doc file as well, and yes, of course, you have the git ignore file, regular for any git project, and yeah, pretty much it. So what we did last time was, this was our package.json from last time. I'm just quickly going to take this tmi.js which we used last time, Twitch messaging interface. Okay, let's do one thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the code whatever we did last time to a folder called old, so that we can start off afresh. So Twitch chat, package log, package JSON, and yeah, pretty much it, I guess. So these are the things which we did last time. So, and what we are going to do is, okay, Twitch chat also I have to move it to old. Okay. I'm running inside a VM, so it is difficult for me to drag and drop. So anyways, so I have all this. So I have my project set up. So if you notice something, so what we have now is a single server project setup where we are basically starting our server. So if you notice, if we hit the server here, localhost 8085, and we got the request here. So this is our basic server, and basically our server has routes. So in case you know Node.js, you would know that you would put all your API routes in Express like this. So we have a routes folder where we are going to put all the routes. So that's what you saw. So root server routes is where it is hitting, but now I'm not going to be bothered about that. What I am going to do now is quickly, I'm going to create a chat endpoint. Okay, let me put it here. I'm going to create a chat endpoint. So I'm going to comment this out. So this is all boilerplate, so you can use it if you want or remove it if you don't want. So I created a chat endpoint. I don't want to go about tokens and secrets at this point of time since I am just starting off. So what I want is, display chat. Should I do it this way, or should I directly serve it as HTML? Okay, let me do one thing. Let me directly serve it as HTML, so it will be easy for you to understand. So what I am going to do is I am going to create an index.html file in my app public folder. So this is nothing but my static HTML file. So if you go to my app routes, which is where I am going to have all my routes, I want to comment this out first of all. So I commented this out. So now what will happen is, if I come to localhost 8085, so it will throw out an error. Now I refresh it again. It is showing me hello world, which is from this HTML file. So what we are going to do is, we are going to write a HTML, plain old HTML from here. So we want a form. We are building a chat box, so we want a form. So we want a form. Wait, let's think a bit before we start coding. So do we want to write the client in the server itself, or do we want to have a separate client file for this? So in this case, so what I want to do is, so let me roll back my decision again, because I am doing it all live. So thoughts will come up and I keep changing things. So what I want to do is, I have my app and routes. So I want to just build an API called chat. I will tell you why I am doing this. Since I am doing this all live, so yeah, I'll keep changing my thought process, because that's how it goes, right? Process incoming chat. I'm going to create a function like this. I'm going to comment this out. So I am going to add process incoming chat to my chat server controller, which is where I will put all my Node.js logic. So I know that you won't be getting so much of this if you don't know. In fact, you won't be getting anything if you don't know Node.js. So if you don't know Node.js, better learn it and then come watch this video. So otherwise, it's not going to be sensible for you. So you are going to be staring blank at whatever I am talking about and not understanding anything. So I would advise, if you don't know Node.js, better learn Node.js and come. So what I want to do is, I want to create a function which is used for processing the incoming chat message. So yeah, I have a function like this, and yeah, that's all I want. So if I hit this chat endpoint in post method, so this function process incoming chat should be executed, and this function is something which I put in my controller file, which is nothing but this. So hello from chat function. So let's quickly test this out. I am opening up my Postman. Let's quickly see if we have any questions. So I am opening up my Postman here. So let me quickly open this. What I want to do is, I want to set my method to post. I want to hit localhost 8085 / chat. So that was the endpoint which I created in Node.js. I have not set any authorization or authentication, so if I just hit this, so I should be getting hello from chat function, which is what the JSON function, JSON response which I returned. So hello from chat function is what you see here. So which means that basically if you hit this endpoint, it's calling this function, and that function is returning this JSON response. So that's what is happening here. So that's what I showed you. So in case you don't know how to use this boilerplate, all the documentation is already available in GitHub. So in case you go here, so I have already explained how to use this, how the folder structure looks like, how do you go about running this in Kubernetes, running it as a container, how do you expose your static files here, how do you expose metrics, how do you do formatting, linting, how do you generate API documentation, code documentation, JWT authentication, editor config, and all that. So all these things I have already documented in this boilerplate. So in case you are you want to start off from this, so you can always go here and read it out, so that you will get an idea. So it is available in github.com/tvvignesh/nodeskeleton. But otherwise, so let's continue. So what we did now is, we just made an API. So API is as simple as that. Creating an API is as simple as that if you have boilerplates like this. So we made an API where we didn't pass any payload. So we just have this. So let's create the same endpoint with ability to take in payload. So let's say const payload equal to request.body. So in case you don't know Express, you might want to learn Express as well. So request.body.payload, and I have this payload which I am responding back here. So now if you see, if I just do send, I won't get anything. It would say connection refused because it is restarting. Yeah, I do send again, I still get hello from chat function because I have not sent any payload. So what I will do now is, I will send a JSON payload here. So I just made a JSON payload and I got the same payload in the response, which means that my API is working, taking the payload and returning the same payload in the response. So now that we are done, with setting up the server, so we have a lot more to do. We will come and do that. We will just set up the boilerplates first so that we can get started off. Next, let's set up the client quickly. So index.html, I'm creating index.html within my client folder. So I'm just creating a sample HTML. So in case you don't know HTML, you might want to learn that as well. So this is a live coding series, so that's why I'm not talking about HTML or CSS or anything in this live coding series. this is more meant for people who are already involved in coding, so not for everyone. So people who are interested in learning coding after doing the basics. So live chat, or let me call it stream box. So I'm going to quickly create my body. So my form is going to be here, and okay, I want a content editable. So okay, do I want a content editable, or do I want okay, I will go for content editable. So content editable is a feature in HTML where you can have smart elements in your chat box. Like if you go for a text area where you want to put in all the inputs, the problem is that text area can't display rich elements. So in case you want to display things like images, smileys, or things like that, you might want to go for content editable, because that's capable of displaying inputs as well as display rich messages. So if you notice here, this is a paragraph, it is editable, try to change this text. So hello world. So that's what I am doing here. So I can also insert images here. So content editable is nothing but a tag in HTML5 where you can basically use a div or a paragraph tag as an editable element where you can insert images, smileys, or whatever you want. So in case I am making since I am making a chat application here, so I want to display smiley faces or whatever rich images or text or whatever I want in my chat box as well. So I want to make this as a content editable window. So yep, I have my content editable, and I guess I am done. So let me quickly open this up, open containing folder, open with Google Chrome. So, and I guess I should be getting something. Okay, I have it here. So let me edit my HTML to give some kind of indication. Okay, let's create a CSS file. I don't want to mess up the same HTML file with CSS as well. So let's create a CSS file as well. So what we will do is, first we will make all the margins, paddings and everything set as 0 by default, just in case you have any issues. So and what we will also do is, since we have this content editable here, so we want to give it an ID. So stream chat box. So I am giving this an ID called stream chat box. So I want a border around it. So solid. I want some color, black. So I want it as 1 pixels in width, and I want the border radius to be 10 pixels, let's say. So we will change this later if you want. So this is just to give us an idea. So what this will generate is, okay, I have to, why is it not, let's see. Okay, so we did some mistake, that's why it's not showing up. So stream chat box is what we have, and let's see what mistake we made. So let's make it 10 pixels just to see. Okay, this is interesting. So let me make the background color black and border color as white, just to see if any background is coming. Okay. Oh, I understood. So you can't style a paragraph tag like this, right? So let's make this a div. So let's see if that works. Okay, interesting. I think import style. Oh, sorry. Yes, you are right. So I forgot to import the style sheet. So yes, you are right. So I made a CSS file and I didn't import it. So it's going to be style.css, and yeah, we are done. So we should be getting it now. Yeah. Funny things happen. So I'll make it as white itself, and I will make this black. Oops, I want to make it as border width as 1 pixels. Crazy, man. So I want margin as 10 pixels. Okay, so and I want to set a width as well. Yes, let's assume this is going to be our chat box, because I know the design is crappy, but let's live with it, at least for now. Ouch. I'm going to give a chat box a height. Okay. Okay, let me make it as 70. Okay, this seems sensible. And I am going to have a window where I display the chat messages. So that's what I am going to do. So I want to create a window for that. I am going to give it an ID, chat display window. So I have border style solid. Okay, let me do one thing. Let me not spend time in this. So let me just copy this. And what we will do is we'll just change some things. So we want the chat message to be a bit distinct from our chat box, so that way we know what our chat box is and what our thing is. So we want the background color, let's say, to be black, and we want the color to be white, and we want the height to be, say, 500 pixels, and I guess it should be fine. Let's see. Ouch. Okay. So yeah, so let's add a text here so that people understand what this is. So we have basically made a div where we are going to load all our chat messages, and we have made a chat box, and let's add a button as well so that we can submit it. Input type equal to okay, I don't want to create a submit button. So value equal to yeah, post or send. Okay, so let's style this a bit. So we are going to create a padding. Anna, why do I want to create a padding? Okay, let's do this. So let's see how it goes. Background color, let's say I want it to be blue. Is blue good? Give me some suggestions, guys. Okay, orange. Ouch, sucks. So I'm bad at choosing colors, but anyways, let's choose gray. At least it's a bit not heavy on the eye. Color colon black, maybe, I don't know. So let's make this light gray, a bit more lighter on the eye. Okay, let's see how it is. Border radius. So ideally you would use some frameworks or some kind of material design or something to work with this. We will do that later. Right now let's get things working, then we will add more and more things to it as we go by. So we want to position this in the right of our container. So what we want to do is we want to create div outer chat window. So chat window within which we will put all this. So this is going to be our chat window. So what we will do is we will actually float this to the right of the chat window. So and we will add a width to our chat window. So let's assume our chat window will always be since we have the width to be 450 here and 450 here, our chat window, let's assume it's going to be 550 px. Ouch. It should be inside chat window, right? So what happened? Okay, I have to add a clear style as well. So since I added a float, so I have to basically add style equal to clear colon both, so that whatever float it did, it comes within the div. So and I am going to add a padding to the window, and of course I will add the same thing which I did here. So I am going to add a border radius here, and I am going to add a border width here. So I will copy the same thing. Ouch. Okay, I have my chat box. Let's add some margin as well. So I have my chat box. Oh, for button you have interesting color, is it? So let's add it for button. So let's see how it is. Okay, it's fine. Don't like it too much though. Yeah, now it's good. So maybe with white it looks good. Okay. So yes, this is our chat box. So we have a chat box here. Now one thing we have to make sure is, so we have set up our client, we have written some code for okay, we are reaching the end of the session. So let's quickly set up the plugin and let's end the session for today. So next session we will continue from here, so that we know where we left off. So okay, plugin, what I want to do is I want to create multiple folders for each and every platform where I want to stream to. So I have a YouTube plugin, I have a Twitch plugin. So and what I want to do is so since this is going to be a plugin, I want to create it as separate servers itself. So let's start off by creating it as separate servers, and later if you want we can maybe incorporate it as in the same server. So what I will do is I'll go to my node skeleton. I will basically clone the same project which I used for my server in my plugin for now. So let's see if there is any better way to do it in the future. If you have any suggestions, let me know. But otherwise let's quickly go to my plugins, my YouTube folder. So there are multiple ways to create plugins. You can make it as a client plugin, you can make it as a server plugin, but in this case the better way to do it is a server plugin. Okay, my YouTube is set up. So I am cloning the same project in my Twitch as well. So I will basically use the same boilerplate which I am using for my server for my plugins as well. So that's what I will do. So again, like what I did before, I am just moving in all the files from within node skeleton to this folder. So, and so once that's done, I am removing the node skeleton folder here. So and I am going to do the same thing with Twitch as well. So okay, now I understand why it didn't work probably with ESLint. I guess I deleted the ESLint maybe. .ESLint.rc, is there any? I didn't copy all these files. So if you notice here, there are ESLint, editor config.env. So all these files got deleted because I forgot to copy them. So what I want to do is, so I am going to go to my Twitch/node_skeleton, right? So it's in my plugins. So Twitch/node_skeleton, I have all these files here. I am going to copy all the dot files into all the folders where I am using, so I can also lint my project. I hope these are the dot files. Okay, so I'm going to copy this onto the server. Yep, I am going to copy this onto the YouTube folder, and I am going to copy the same thing onto my Twitch as well. So now what I will do is, so I have basically copied all the files. I can remove the node skeleton. Yep, my job is done. So okay, let me know if you have any questions, otherwise I will be just coding. I don't know if you have any questions otherwise, but anyways, so let's quickly install the dependencies for the respective platforms as well, like what we did before. So while this completes, okay, npm modifix. So this is to basically fix all the vulnerabilities. So, and I'm going to go to my Twitch folder, and I am going to install my dependencies there as well. Good. So now what I have is, I have my server setup, I have my plugin setup. So in case so one thing I have to make sure is, since my server is already running in 8085 port, so I want to also make sure that the plugins don't run in the same port as well. So I go to my respective plugin here. I go to my config.ts, so it should be inside, so src config.ts. So I want to run this in 8090, let's say. So my YouTube plugin is going to run in the 8090 server. Let's name this as YouTube plugin. Ouch. So this is a config file which I have created, which I use for my boilerplate. So if you want to change any ports, if you want to add authorization, authentication, you want to provide database config information, or you want to do something else, you can put all your configuration in this place and it will be picked up by the project. So you can use, once you put it up in this config, you can use it anywhere in your controller files. So that's what it is. So I am going to go to my Twitch as well. I'm going to come here. I am going to edit my config. So this is going to be my Twitch plugin. So I am going to I started that in 8090, so I am starting this in 8095. So it's a random port, so you need not worry about all that. So now what I do is, I just quickly start it off, npm run start dev. So the start dev, if I do, what happens is, basically it runs a script like this. Let me quickly show you what start dev does actually. So if I do start dev, what happens is, it runs npm run format, which is nothing but it runs prettier. So prettier is nothing but a tool to help you format your code in such a way that other developers can see it and understand it better. So basically beautifying your code, that's what prettier does. So I pass all my TypeScript file, JavaScript file, CSS file, Markdown file all to prettier, so that it will basically format it for me in case I have written, I have not aligned it properly, I have not given right spacing and all that. So prettier will take care of it for me and format it. So then npm run lint, so it is going to, ESLint is basically going to take my code and see if there are any bugs on the standards. So in case you want to see what the standards are, there is a file called .eslint.rc. So inside .eslint.rc you will see basically all the configurations, like how many spaces should I leave. So how many should I basically give comments, should I give multiple empty lines, should I put curly brackets, and all the kinds of rules, should I add semicolons. So all these kinds of standards are put in ESLint RC, and ESLint will basically lint it for me. And I have my tracing code right now. I'm not going to use this, I'm not going to connect it to a database as of now, so let's do it in the future episodes. So yeah, I have my Twitch plugin running, I say yes. Okay, so it says address already in use. So one thing which I missed is I have to change this env file. So 809095, right, for Twitch. So 8095, because if it doesn't if I have not provided the env file, it will take it directly from the config. If I have provided my config in the env file, it will take it from the env file. That's how I have done it. So yes, node env production. Now if I start it, it should start in 8095. So let's see. Yeah, it started in 8095, and let's quickly do the same for our YouTube plugin as well. So I have my .env file here, so I basically go here, I change it as 8090, 8090. Now I open a new terminal, so I come to my plugins slash YouTube, so npm run start dev, and if you notice here, it is passing through prettier first, then the nodemon is starting. Nodemon is basically running TypeScript, and TypeScript is basically converting my files. So what happens is I write all my TypeScript code basically within the src folder, and what happens is all my TypeScript get compiled and placed in the dist folder. That's what happens. So with that, I have all my TypeScript code in src. I have all my JS code in dist folder. So if you notice, the same TypeScript files have been compiled as JavaScript, and it's placed in JS or dist folder. So that's what happens. So what we have done today is, so we have basically made a sample UI just to start off. Okay, not this. So a sample UI for our chat box, a chat window, a chat text box, a button, on a window. And what we have also done is we have set up our project structure, where we have set up our structure, where we have set up our server, we have our plugins, which is going to be Twitch and YouTube. So in the next episode, which is going to be on next Thursday, what we will do is we will now that we have set it up, let's go and code all our logic into it on the next episode. So while you wait for the next episode, I will push this code in into the repository as I have already shared with you, Timecampus/streambox. It's going to be in GitHub. So in case you don't have the URL, let me know. I will share the URL as well. So you can go and download the project, whatever I did so far from GitHub, and go through it, understand it. So in case you want to download the boilerplate, it is available in tvvignesh/nodeskeleton, so you can download that as well. So go through it. If you don't know Node.js, go through that as well. If you don't know HTML, CSS, better understand it as well. And we will come back on the next episode, and we will code out all the logic inside. So this is not going to be a theory session, as I have shown you already. So it's going to be all the work which we are doing. So thank you for attending today's session. So I guess that's pretty much it for today. So what we did is we just set up a project project structure for today. And next episode we will connect, we'll write code into the server, we will write code into the client to connect to the server. We will also write code for the plugins to basically connect to each and every platform. Like YouTube plugin will connect to the YouTube platform, Twitch plugin will connect to the Twitch platform, and then our server will connect to the plugins. And we will also set up WebSockets. So WebSockets, I don't think it is possible in the next episode. Let's see if it is possible, we will do it. So it all depends on how good you are with the pace in which I am going. So thank you for attending. So we will see you on the next episode. So we saw the client, the server, and the plugins. So just remember this: what if today was your last? You can always ping me. This is my social media channel, like Vignesh at timecampus.com and at the rate TV Vignesh. So whatever doubts you have, whatever questions you have, suggestions you have, just throw it out to me. So let's make this a bit more interactive so that I understand whether you really understand or not. But otherwise, thank you for attending today, and see you in the next session. I'll be around in the chat box. I'll be ending the stream now, but I'll be around, so in case you have any doubts, let me know.
Run away, and I know right now we can change anything and make it better together. Now we're strong, don't question it. The truth will break your chains. We have the key.